Hey guys, it's Jess and I'm back here with another video for you. Today I thought we'd take a look at this right here, that pin board. A lot of people ask me, well, what's on that? So that I call my favorites board. And it has not all of my favorites because I would need a much larger pin board for that. But I tend to switch it out at least once a year and put my current favorite pins up there, the things that make me happy. So let's go take a look and see what's up there right now. All right, I wanted to give you guys a good overall view of the board. Up here we have Little Mermaid, we have some Tinkerbell over here. I think there's only the one Belle pen up there right now, some Robin Hood and some Sword in the Stones pins. And above all those, I actually have a framed pin. I used to think this was my biggest pin, but now with the new Sword in the Stone one, it's probably not. This was the framed pin that they did at the last pin trading night pin event. So I'm really happy to have it. I think it's a gorgeous pin. And then of course up here I have a Disney Store opening key, which is really fun. But let's do some close-ups of some of these pins and I'll try and tell you a little bit about them. All right, let's try and start up here in the corner. This one is Peter and Mickey as John with Tinkerbell flying away over the night sky with that Jolly Roger down below with 1953. This is a dangle element. This pin was from the Disneyland Paris pin event. It all started with a mouse. I've said it before, it's totally one of my favorite pins and just amazingly beautiful. Below that, I just have a postcard that I found. It came from a set that I found on Amazon, and I really like this picture of the Darling family, Peter and Tink, flying away from what I would assume is the Darling family house. Below that, or maybe to the side, is Tinkerbell in this April pin. This was, I believe, an open edition pin that has been retired, and I just thought that she was really cool, and I love the kind of background of the gem there, and April being my birth month, I just had to get it. Next we have this Laughing Tink. So this, I believe, is an auction pin, but don't quote me on that. I'd have to take it off to verify that for you. I do have enough pins that sometimes I forget and have to recheck them. But she has these beautiful glittery wings and just, she looks really happy. So this one and this pin were actually the first pins I bought from Disney Chris. They are authentic pins. This one I believe is also an auction pin, and she just looks very sneaky there, so I really loved it. And I put it with this postcard that was in the same set of Peter, just a sketch drawing. Over here we have the sign from the entrance of Disney that has Walt's quote on it. I'm not positive, this might be a fake pen, but I love it enough. It's either a fake or a scrapper. So, but either way, I love it enough that I've kept it. This pen is a fantasy pen I picked up that I really love that says Neverland. This company does a lot of this Mickey shaved with things inside it type pins. I can't remember the name of them off the top of my head, but I will make sure to list them down below. This is part of a series. This was a particular artist whose name is escaping me at the moment, but she did these in several different colors. This was the first of the editions, and they are limited to the number. The limited edition is the same year that Peter Pan came out, so that's kind of a cool. And I love sketch type pins, which is why I also have this one. This is an auctions pin of just a sketch of Tinkerbell, and it's gorgeous. Then we go down here and we have this Tink skipping in the rain. If memory served, she was a D23 exclusive pin, and I love her. She makes me think of spring, and I love how glittery her wings are and the umbrella, and just the colors are amazing. Next to that, this is a cast exclusive pin of Peter, Wendy, and Tink from Valentine's Day 2004. Really love this pen as well. This one, I believe, is a Studio Store Hollywood. It has Peter and Tink at the movies, and I believe that is, let's see if it will focus. Maybe not. But anyhow, I think that is Fantasia that they're watching. Then we have the pen that Disney Kitty gave me. This is from a mystery set that was, I think it was a D23 event or something like that. But this pen depicts two hats that are from a short. I believe it's called Bonnie Blue Bonnet. And I loved it as a kid. And when we did a swap a couple months ago, she had given this to me, which was so, so sweet. Then I have this Wonderground Gallery picture or postcard that depicts Tink and the Darling Children and Peter in the background. And I really love it. This is a New Year pen from, I think it's 2015/2016 that a friend picked up at the park for me. And I love the face of Big Ben. There's also Tink on here. And the moving element of it. So absolutely adore that pen. Down here we have this huge fantasy pen. It is about the size of my palm. So, and this depicts the Darling family and Nana there with a map on his little, I don't know, some piece of, maybe it's his shirt. But I just love the family aspect of this and the sweetness of Wendy holding John, and I don't know, I just really loved it. I happened to get this pen for only $25, and it was my first fantasy pen. Over here we have the Disney Chris Belle. I can't remember what the name of the series is off the top of my head, but I absolutely adore this pen. I think she's gorgeous and well executed, and she has Cogsworth and Lumiere up there, and there's a rose up here. It's stunning. Then we go down into my Sword in the Stone collection. This is actually like a cardboard print that came with these two pens. This one has Arthur pulling out the sword and Arthur as the king, and I thought it was just a great representation of that scene. Over here we have Arthur or Wart as the fish, and if you open this up, there is Merlin as his fish as they were being chased by the barracuda. And this was a limited edition bi-monthly series that they did that I picked up when I went to Disneyland for my first time. It just happened to be there along with another one that I'm going to show you in this series that's up here from Ariel. Then we have a Pen Trader Delight of Mim eating ice cream that I think is hilarious because I love Mim in her dragon form. Next to that, we have this Disneyland Paris pen. Now, this is a limited edition pen. I want to say, I can't remember the edition size, but there are very, very few pens that depict the tower in which Merlin lived. And so I was so excited to be able to not only get this one, but the other ones in the series. I would love to have a pen that really depicts the whole castle because it is a very classic English castle. Then over here we have the, what were they called? Tiny Kingdoms or something? Little mini pen of the Sword and the Stone. And it's super, super tiny. I wish I could get more of these pens, but they are really hard to find. Then I have another Pen Trader Delight of the Sugar Bowl, which always makes me laugh. I just happened to find somebody on Instagram who was willing to pick this up for me, and I was so, so happy. Next to that, we have a fantasy pen that I found on Etsy that has the saying that Merlin says, which I have Merlin here, that Merlin says when he is packing up his books and everything. And next to him, we have a Disneyland Paris Merlin pin. This is, I believe, an open edition pin. So, but there's so few Merlin pins that I had to have it. Next to all the Sword in the Stone stuff, we have some Robin Hood stuff, which is very dear to my heart because my husband proposed at the end of this movie. So down here, we have I think this was from a pen event at Disney World, and it has Robin Hood on the Robin Hood book. And I love books, so this really spoke to me. I had to have it. Over here, we have, this is new this year, the archery card. These are much more beautiful in person than the pictures show them to be, and I wouldn't be surprised if in years to come the series becomes really sought after. Above that, I have the Pin Trading Night pin of Robin Hood and Maid Marian, kind of in that romantic setting. Laura and Jody Life picked this up for me. They were so, so sweet. Above that, we have the Studio Store Hollywood release that has Robin Hood and Maid Marian right as they were being married. As soon as this pen came out, I had to have it. I did buy it off of eBay. It was a lot more than it had originally cost, but it is a very sentimental scene for me, and I'm extremely happy no matter how much I had to pay for it to get that. Next to it, I have this Robin Hood and Maid Marian in a heart. This is a Loungefly pin. And then next to that, we have this Maid Marian and Lady Cluck, which I love that name, Lady Cluck, pen. This was I think this was part of the Medieval Magic set. They did a bunch of Robin Hood pens during that, and I'm slowly working on getting them. Above that, we have the penguin from Mary Poppins. This is just kind of the sketch to the real thing, and then they have a pop-up element. This is an open edition pen, I believe, that they came out with last year. Oh, it's an ink and paint pen, but it was around for quite a while. You might even still be able to get these. Next to that, I have the vintage vinyl of Mary Poppins with that pop-out element and the landscape behind her. Then we have the El Capitan Mary Poppins sing-along, which I got from a mystery box. Oh gosh, what are they called? Pin Trading Monthly or something. I'll link it down below. I really like them, but they have been on hold since April, and I finally had to get a refund from them because it had been enough months. I'm really hoping that they come back soon, though. And then over here, we have a Mary Poppins 55th anniversary with this. There's her hat, and they're on the rooftop. This is a cast exclusive pin that I found, I think, on eBay. And then this is a Windy Antique Fantasy pen that I purchased through one of the Disney Chris fantasy sales. This is not a Chris design, but it is absolutely stunning. Then we have some of my Little Mermaid pens. Most of these are from the pen trading event that they had last year. So we first have Ariel in her pink dress with Sebastian there as dinner. This one I really like because it's Ariel with the Eric statue, and you don't really see a whole lot of Ariel and the statue itself, or even the statue. But I really like the metal they used for the statue. It's really cool. Then we have a Wonderground Gallery print of Ariel that is absolutely stunning. Over here, we have Ariel, Flounder, and Scuttle on her wedding day. Above that, we have Ariel and Prince Eric's dog, whose name I can't remember. And then over here, we have Ariel and her dad. Above that, we have a Disney Chris design that is a top pin with Ariel, Flounder, Scuttle, the dog, whose name I can't remember, Eric, Ursula, and King Triton. Very cool pin. And then this is the other one I was telling you in the series that I picked up at Disneyland that has Ariel and Flounder running from the shark. So I really like that one. As well as my final pin up here is this one. This pin came from Crazy Kylie, and I will link her down below. She sold me this pin because I adore this little him riding the bottle cap. It was at the beginning of The Wonderful World of Disney, and it was my favorite opening scene, and I love it. It makes me think of all the times that I sat there and watched The Wonderful World of Disney with my family. So that is my pin board at current. Well, that's my pin board. Let me know what you liked, what your favorite pin was. What do you collect? And what's on your pin board? So until next time, I'll see you later.